Hello, folks. Hello, and welcome to Wednesday night Techthusiasm live podcast. We have a super doozy tonight. We're going all about Kaleidescape. There's been some massive news this week. CEDIA 2023 is kicking off, and we got some brand new Kaleidescape hardware. The year of Kaleidescape continues. So we're gonna have a special guest. I got a whole laundry list of questions and doing some deep dives. We can talk all about these brand new Terra Prime servers. So welcome everybody as you're coming in. We'll be getting started here in just a second. Normal housekeeping. If you've got questions, please pop them in the chat as we go. If you want to mark stuff with Q's, as always, as well. Of course, it's YouTube, super thanks, super chats, and all of that stuff is welcome. And we'll try to hit through a whole variety of conversation about this stuff and then everything that anybody might want to ask as well. So without further ado, I want to say thank you right off the bat for the engagement this week from Kaleidescape directly. And we have Mr. Matt Scarborough to join us this evening. Welcome, Matt.
Hey, how are you?
Very well. How you doing?
Good.
We were just sorting through some technical issues. There might have been some fire action in the background where you're at, but hopefully we'll be able to weather that storm.
Yeah, it should be good. Excited to be here, though. Thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, appreciate it. Why don't you start with an introduction, Matt? Let everybody know who you are, what you do at Kaleidescape, and your interest in this hobby.
Yeah, so Matt Scarborough, I'm the regional sales manager for the Tola and the Rocky Mountain region for Kaleidescape. Been with Kaleidescape a little over a year. Been in the industry since 2005. Started with Best Buy Magnolia for a long time. Then worked for a couple of different independents, and like I said, now we're here at Kaleidescape and got some new product that we're excited about. So
perfect. So a little get to know you. What's the last movie you watched and the last movie you bought?
Last movie I bought was Indiana Jones that just came out
Nice.
yesterday.
Yep.
Yesterday. And last one I watched was actually I think it was Cocaine Bear was the last one I just watched.
Ooh, how was that? I haven't seen that.
It wasn't bad. I mean, I didn't know what to expect, to be honest. So, but it wasn't bad.
Right. A wild ride.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Why don't we start out? I know what I really want to try to get in tonight is a pretty detailed conversation about the new Terra Primes. But of course, we may have folks, I think, joining us in the audience and whatnot that are still wondering a little bit about like the basics of Kaleidescape. You want to maybe give a kind of an elevator pitch about what Kaleidescape is, the platform, and some of the base details?
Sure. Yeah. So we've been around for over 20 years. We are the only provider of lossless audio for movies. Hold on one
second. Matt's on the road doing the Kaleidescape thing, and of course, just as we're about to go, the hotel's having some hopefully not life-threatening technical difficulties. So we may have to weather through this a little bit in the beginning or mute out, but hopefully everybody's safe and there's no problems going there. While we're waiting, I'll just get through some shout outs here. We got all like a bunch of the channel regulars with us and a whole lot more. Everybody, if you would, sound off in the comments. Let me know who you are. Hit the like button. Let me know what's been going on in your home theater. Let me know if you've got that Kaleidescape or if maybe you're jonesing for one. Julius, hello. Mr. Rob James, hello. Oprah Winfrey, hello. Michael. We've been talking a lot of Kaleidescape in the background with Michael this week. TKK, hello. My fellow Road to 10K YouTuber. Welcome. Keeping up with the Joneses. Yep, love the product. Yeah, price point. We'll see what happens with that in the long run for sure. We got Bodie here. So many folks. Welcome.
So we should be good now.
Right.
So we're the only digital provider of lossless audio, right? Biggest thing for us is how we kind of get our content. We get what's called the mezzanine file, and we don't touch the audio. We do some compression on the video, still reference video, but the biggest thing for us is that file. So if you look at like a 4K disc at 65 gigs, our content averages around 80 or 90 gigs. So a whole lot more information. We have more 4K content than anybody, right? Over 1,700 4K titles. Of those, about 700 aren't even available on 4K disc. So a lot more 4K content than anybody, right? But the biggest thing for us is just going to be the audio and video difference you're going to get, one versus streaming, but also versus disc.
Yep, and I've got the videos to prove it. So if you're looking for some more info on Kaleidescape, this is definitely the channel. I've done my due diligence to put everything out there on the platform, and covering the UIs, the apps, the players, the installations, the operation, the menus, the settings. If you look on the channel, there's a Kaleidescape playlist, and everything is collected there. This to digital program and more covered. I've done the video too, comparing the sizes of about 40 pieces of content between the Blu-ray physical disc main movie size and the Kaleidescape download. And wouldn't you know, like Kaleidescape outsizes that disc by easily 15% or more in the large majority of those cases, sometimes as much as 2x when you talk about the stars like Avengers Endgame and so on. So again, if anybody has questions, we definitely got the whole group here now. If anybody has questions, pop them in the chat. If you'd like to accompany that with a super chat, super thanks, stickers, and so on, please do. Got a whole lineup of topics. And so let's get into the main meat of it, the Terra Prime. So this week, the Terra Prime was opened up to the world. They're already available. You can buy them right now. As far as I know, right, shipping and available. In fact, some of the folks on the owners forum even already had some in their hands. It continues what I consider to be a really banner year for Kaleidescape. I think 2023 has just been huge. We had the whole overhaul to the disc to digital program. We've had like just continual store expansion, content just flowing into the store every single week, including all those early releases and even some of the stuff that's in the theaters, content sets and bundling, a variety of like KOS point releases, and so on. And now we have the Terra Primes. You want to walk us through kind of the high level of those? Yeah. I can pull up too a little bit of a share here. We want to look at the webpage while you're talking.
Yeah, no problem. So we have two iterations. We have the HDD Terra Prime, which is going to be still your spinning disc. Difference with that, right, is going to be we've taken away the 6 terabyte and now have an 8 terabyte option. So for the same price as the 6, you're going to get about 30 more 4K movies on that unit, right? So now we offer the 8, 22, 48, and 88 on that. We've put a new processor inside this unit. So for the first time in about 8 years, we've added a new processor, so much faster. And then the other thing that we've done for these units is also added that 2.5 gig Ethernet port as well. So, and then the other thing that we have now is going to be the solid state version, so the Prime SSD. So same kind of thing, same processor, same 2.5 chip, and then a solid state version at 8 and 31 terabytes. Biggest thing for this is going to be the difference in speed as well. So now for a movie on the solid state, you're looking about 4 minutes for a download versus about 8 minutes, depending on speed, about 8 minutes on your HDD.
In a nice sleek black color as well. I like the differentiation on the color. That was a great kind of just presentation marketing differentiating factor between the two models.
Yep. The other thing with the solid state version is now on those you can have up to 25 simultaneous views.
Yep. So basically a whole lot more performance lets you do a whole lot of things. And we'll get into some of those details as well. Again, I really want to kind of dive into some of the technicals of like all around the download speeds and comparing and contrasting the different options. But what I like now, we have a really great matrix of choice, I think, within the ecosystem. Basically 2 form factors. We have the larger rack width multi-drive, and then still the compact form factor. In a single drive, we've got 2 technologies with spinning mechanical hard drives, and of course the solid states. And I think a good consolidation of sizes, right? 4 sizes to choose from, essentially. 2 in the small form factor, 2 in the large form factor. for the HDD version, and then 2 sizes overall, 1 small still and 1 large in the solid state. I think in this space, a lot of companies, especially in like the areas of TVs and some, go like say model happy, and they just put out way too many permutations, way too many variations without a whole lot of differential. But I think this lineup makes for a really healthy matrix of choice without having a hard drive difference at every step. Anything that you do or anything that you choose, I think, has kind of a meaningful difference. And one of the main things that we'll get into here tonight as well is like the difference of like, why would you choose a hard disk based movie server versus the solid state? And what are you really getting depending on your needs, the application, how much you want to spend in different elements like that. And so it really does become a functional difference of, do you really focus your money spending for performance and some of the specific logistics of the SSD, or do you want data volume? Do you want to just hold as many movies as you can? And so again, I think there's a really nicely balanced choice presented in that lineup.
And I'm back. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I was just making sure. I want to make sure you're still beeping or not there. So one of the questions that I was curious about, again, definitely get into the idea of like download speeds and what the different boxes are capable of. But I'm curious, what else can we expect in terms of a performance delta? Using these in our system versus say an existing Terra. I've got a 12 terabyte compact Terra in my system right now. With a large movie library, would we have a bit of a zippier UI? Like I would imagine that anytime the Terra has to get hit now to pull data, pull metadata, pull covers, pull that's going to be essentially a faster operation, and you're gonna feel that just a little bit crisper, just like every new iPhone, has just kind of that zippier rendering of the screen and so on.
Yep, exactly. Right. And that's what it is. And especially, maybe you have a 6 now, and then you add a 22 and you keep adding, storage to your system. Same thing. It's just going to get faster. And then the other big thing is just the download. But yeah, the UI is more responsive, switching from menu. There's no kind of stutter or judder or anything like that. So it is a lot smoother.
And not to say that it was bad by any means before. I think the elegance in the operation of the UI is one of the virtues of the platform. It just makes the theater feel it's like something different. I said that in my audio advice review. Is like the demo. You go around, especially at a show, you go around and you experience a lot of demo rooms back to back to back, and you can feel the difference between the ones that were Kaleidescape based and the ones that were not. We'll see too. I as an engineer, as a computer engineer, I love hardware. I love the intersection of hardware and software, and I spend a lot of time with my development teams on the things we're working on, really always trying to push performance for our users and make functions and operations and things faster. And as computational power grows, so do the possibilities of what can be done with it. So I definitely look forward to future KOS versions that maybe now could be capable of some things that weren't capable before because of the extra bandwidth, the memory. We're dealing with pretty much a whole rework of the internals, right? We've got a new board, some new processor, doubling of the RAM, faster network interface, and so on. So it's really, for anybody that looks at the box and says, "Oh, okay, it looks the same," it's very, very much not the same.
Yeah. In fact, I've got a client who has an existing 88 and just got the new one, and he's already talking about how much faster it is. So
nice. Perfect. All right. So one of the things, obviously, one of the key elements of the whole value proposition here is these download speeds. So to set the framework of kind of like where we've come from, I've had multiple permutations of the Stratos and the Terras actually in my time as a customer. I had a Strato S 6 terabyte for a time. I had a larger Terra for a time. Currently now I've got the C and a Terra 12 terabyte compact. And from the earlier days where we had the combined existing hardware Strato player hardware with mechanical storage, right? That box was capable of downloading a 4K movie on the order of about 45 minutes was my experience. I don't remember what the bandwidth top out of that, but I think that one was something sub like 200 megabit per second in terms of its download rate. And then we've got the bigger Terras that prior to the primes, of course, the models that we've had, including the compact, which based on my experience, nominally can get about 12 minutes, 12 to 15, I would say is pretty normal. And that alone, going from 45 minutes to 12, 15, I found was transformative. Actually, I found that when we kind of downgraded a bit to the Strato S, we really struggled to use the player as much as we did before. The decision to watch a movie, we would kick it off. If we didn't plan ahead well enough and kids got to get to bed for school and other things like that, we might miss a window, to be able to enjoy a piece of content when we had the opportunity to do so. So going from 45 to 15, 12 to 15 was transformative. Getting these these new download rates down to something like 4 and 8 minutes is basically getting us to the point where we're like virtually on demand. And the difference from 45 minutes to 4, what's capable now is a whole order of magnitude difference. So very, very, very remarkable. And of course, that's all enabled by the combination of what went into these models.
Yeah, that was one of the big things once we went from that Strato S piece to the 2-piece with the Strato C and the Terras. We were able to cut that 45 minutes down quite a bit. And then now with the new stuff, it's even faster. But yeah, that was a huge thing for us as well, as that 45 minute. You kind of have to plan more around it. Now you can, with the 2-piece, pop popcorn, make a drink, and you're kind of ready to go, right? So.
Yep. Yeah. My family, from making a decision to being ready to execute that decision, for most anything in life, can't not be accomplished in less than 15 minutes. Anyway. So one of the other cool things that's at play here is like the idea of where are the limiting factors of the download rates, and the fact that with this setup now, we're kind of like we're hitting the limits basically of mechanical hard drives. Right. I don't know. Can you comment on like what kind of, I know we've got some Enterclides, we've got some pretty hefty, high quality drives going in, mechanical drives, right, that have historically gone in to the Terras and the Terra Primes. Probably about as fast as you can get as well for what you can get. But it makes me wonder if like basically when we're talking about Terra Prime hard disk drive, the system is now capable of more, and the drive is the limiting factor. Is that the case? Or how does that balance out?
Yeah, so right now, like what I'm seeing is I guess I'll tell you about like kind of download speeds, right? Like what I'm seeing is, in that 500 to a gig, you're in that 8 to 13, maybe pushing 15 minutes. But yeah, if you're at 500 to a gig, you can expect with the new stuff, 8 minutes easily, and then up to 15 with about 500. And then anything more, you're probably, at 200, you're probably looking at 20 minutes or so.
Is there when it comes to folks that are kind of planning their infrastructure out, is there a recommended internet speed that, say, hits a point of diminishing returns with a prime HDD versus a SSD?
It's just going to come down to what they're fine with, right? If they're okay with it taking 30 minutes, then they could do 100 meg. I mean, something like that if they wanted to, right? But yeah, if they want the fastest, I mean, the gig today would be that 8 minutes. And then, like I said, at 200, I think you're in that 25 minute mark, which still isn't bad, right? It's, hey, let's have dinner and then we'll watch the movie kind of thing. So yeah, it just depends on the situation, on the customer. And again, you can always go through the app and start downloads that way as well. So if you're at work or you're on the way home, you can start that download, and that way it's done by the time you get home as well. So
yeah, the app is fantastic. I think it's one of the best mobile apps in the hobby, basically, for a device, and you can do everything, which even purchase movies and push them down, which is rare for a lot of say digital purchase apps, right? They don't always let you do that in app. You have to go to the webpage and stuff, but you guys were able to set it up that way. So
Yeah,
so you're saying, oh, go ahead.
As I say, the app's a great tool, not only for for purchasing and starting to download things, but you also get a lot of alerts to that app for movie updates, and then things like if there's a 4K version now available for something, or like I said, if they add an Atmos track, it alerts you for updates like that as well. So it's pretty cool.
So as one pushes into the SSD model and really wants to take advantage of like achieving that 4-minute, then we're really talking about needing some serious internet.
Yeah.
Right. Some high speed fiber. I'm kind of curious for the audience as well, if people want to post into the chat, like what is your level of download? I'm sitting at a gig right now here in Southeast Michigan, but we're finally starting to get like 2G and even 5G is available. It's definitely pricier, but there's more infrastructure. This week, I've discovered to be able to get closer to maximizing an SSD model than I thought that I might have access to.
Yeah, I can tell you. I'm in Houston. I have a gig, and with my stuff, I'm in that 8 to 13 minutes. So
I like that. I like the fact that you guys pushed the higher speed networking into both devices. I was looking around at my things around the house actually, and most of my equipment doesn't have a 2.5G Ethernet yet. My gaming PC does, but my router and other things are not there yet. Was there any thought of doing like maybe link aggregation or other types of Ethernet port options to kind of be able to achieve more of those speeds? Or just a forward-thinking thought to just go right to that port, because basically skate to where the puck is going.
yeah, I was gonna say it's more of a forward-thinking thing, right? I mean, almost all the new stuff is getting ready to go into that 2.5, and so yeah, that was kind of the idea.
Let's roll through some of the questions that popped up here. And then then I've got a couple of other generals myself. AV Tech Man is asking, can we get 3D playback? There's any thought or tendency towards 3D playback in the Kaleidescape platform?
I think we've been getting a lot of these questions recently. I don't know the answer. I know that we have been getting a lot more of those though recently as a company. So it's something we may possibly look into, but today, no.
This was a big one that folks have been talking about on the forums through the week, is drive failures. How does that work, especially the difference between, say, the big chassis and the compact chassis?
Yep. So as it is, you have a 5-year warranty on all that stuff. And then so if you do have a drive fail in a compact, you would send that compact in, and then we would get that replaced for you. On the full size 48 and 88, we would send you a replacement drive, and then you would just replace it. So what's cool about our system is it doesn't use like a traditional RAID format. We have our own proprietary thing on the drive, so that it knows what's on that drive. It knows what information, what movies on that drive. So when you put in that replacement drive, it'll start downloading the content that was on the previous drive that failed. So yes, you can get those replaced or get the unit replaced on those drives.
And it looks like there's a variety of options for folks that might have existing servers and were upgrading. I think people were talking about being able to work with their dealers, right, and get some upgrades, and even on the bigger chassis change drives. You want to talk a little bit about the path forward, maybe for folks that are in the ecosystem?
Yeah, so right now we have a lot of promos going. We have promos, for people who have older Premiere stuff, where we're giving out movie credits, or Premier to Strato upgrades, right, where you'll get 15% back in movie credits as well on that purchase. So that's kind of what we've got going on right now. And then we do have upgrade path for the newer stuff from like a Strato S, or if you're coming from like a cinema piece or whatever. And that would just be something I would tell you, get with your local dealer, and they can give you all the promo information.
Michael's asking, so part and parcel with what we were talking about a little bit ago. In the future, do we see a future where there could be maybe software features that are applicable to the Prime because of the hardware specs?
Yeah, it's possible. Again, it's not something that I know the answer to. That's just not my side of the business, but definitely possible.
Yep, definitely. We'll wait and see what happens. Just want to say thanks to Greg Hurd for the $4 super sticker there. One of the questions that I really expect to have in the comments is just kind of a confirmation of the fact that if you choose between, say, a hard disk drive model now and a solid state drive model, is there anything actually different in terms of what Kaleidescape is serving to those units? Is the movie file the same? What's the structure of what they're storing and how they're storing it?
It's the same, yeah, same exact file. Everything is the same. All the difference is going to be really, again, that solid state drive and then the simultaneous playback, right? So on the compact HDD, you've got up to 5 simultaneous playbacks or up to 5 Strato Cs. On the full size, you're looking at 10 simultaneous or 10 Strato Cs. And then on the SSD versions, you're going to do up to 25. So it's definitely more of a robust system. Definitely more, I think, toward like that, somebody that has a yacht, right, and has multiple playback zones going on, or maybe somebody that has a plane and they want that solid state, so they don't have to worry about any kind of turbulence, affecting a drive, stuff like that.
I think folks would also be curious to know, or basically have a confirmation that as much as these devices, the Terra Primes are now updated with the new capabilities, the faster processing, and particularly the faster networking, the network speed of the Strato isn't a hindrance or anything at this point. The two devices, or the two families of devices, essentially are able to work completely together in concert, right?
Correct. Yes, sir. Yep.
Yeah. One of the other things that was mentioned in some of the specs was the noise levels. I'm blessed that my equipment resides in another room in a rack, and I don't hear it. But folks that may be putting the devices in a living room or in a space where it's more adjacent to them, is there actually a quieter difference, say, between the Terras as we have them now and the new Terra Prime mechanical drive equivalents, or is it just a difference of noise?
The solid state is super quiet, obviously, but the HDD version, I don't know if it's much quieter. To be fair, that'd be something for my support team. But yeah, I haven't really tested it, to be fair.
Got it. I don't know how much you might be able to talk about this, but something I was curious about. I suspect that the larger volume of data at a faster speed that you serve to all of us downloading movies had to come with quite a bit of planning or like back end type infrastructure to be able to get ready for that. If you guys had like just a massive undertaking of like data center expansion and without giving away anything proprietary, is there anything you can tell us about just like the engineering effort and infrastructure effort that went into getting ready for this?
That I don't know. Yeah, okay. I have no clue.
That's the network engineering nerd side of me is curious. There's got to be like some really big scale up going on there. That stuff is always impressive. Any differences regionally speaking? I definitely get questions outside the U.S. And some elements of the platform are different inside and outside the U.S. Are you guys shipping these models worldwide? How does the global look of the Terra Primes?
Yeah, so we've got plenty of inventory now. We're definitely shipping. We started shipping on Monday. But yeah, we do offer different things throughout the world. So we, obviously because of studio stuff, what you have in Europe is a different library than you have, in the US. So it really just depends on the region. But yes, we are shipping these, Canada, Europe. You can definitely take advantage and get one of these new units.
What do you see, I guess, as some of the other like differentiating factors or maybe customer persona differences for somebody that would want to opt for the solid state versus a hard disk drive variant?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to come down to, I guess, if you want to be able to download in 4 minutes, but like I said, the biggest thing is really how many viewing zones you ultimately want to have or do have. That's going to be your biggest differentiator. If you do, have the need for something super, super quiet, that's another thing. Right. I know I've heard some units that are a little bit louder than others, right? That's a fan thing that, can be replaced. But yeah, I mean, that would be kind of the thing would be, if you have enough viewing zones, if that makes sense for you. And then if you want something just ultra quiet.
Got it. And so to go back to the idea like the 2.5G networking, if somebody wanted to pick up a Terra Prime SSD and be able to make sure that they could feed it all the way kind of through their chain, what's the infrastructure that somebody would need at home? Like, what are the things that they would want to keep in mind, or other elements of their network they may need to upgrade or have ready for that?
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's gonna be more of like, you know, what's the word? Like industrial, type gear, right? You're definitely gonna want, more commercial grade networking in place, whether it's, something from, like Ruckus or some of these other companies that do some of the higher end router modems, access points, stuff like that. But definitely more of the industrial stuff than, kind of off the shelf type stuff.
And you need the link essentially from your internet service to your modem to your router, and any switches in between, I suspect, to all hit that 2.5G level.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what the testing was done with, to be fair. So, but that's something I can find out for you for sure.
Yeah, thinking about my system here, I would probably need a router upgrade, and then I would suspect most folks as well may not be ready to switch 2.5G yet, and end up perhaps having like some sublinks in their AV racks and such, where maybe they've still got their older, 24, 48 port gigabit Ethernet switches for the majority of their devices, and then you may need to start bringing in smaller scale or 2.5G switches specifically for the devices that would be at that level, um, as well as wiring and other things. I was starting to do some research on that too. My house was wired 10 years ago, and it's mostly Cat 5e and Cat 6, which is a little bit quite less, I think, than the standards that may be going in today, but can still hopefully hit those levels of bandwidth as long as the runs are short enough.
I would say if some people are starting to do fiber, some are still doing, Cat 6, just depends. But yeah, if you can do fiber now, it's gonna be a little more expensive, but for the future, and then like you said, yeah, follow up with that with those network switches.
Perfect. A couple other questions, a couple thank yous as well. Otto got a $2.99 super sticker, and AB Tech Man 77, $2 there. The fire burns continues. Yeah, so while we're waiting for the fire alarm to settle down again, I got an anecdotal story. So I was thinking about my readiness kind of for the new servers, and looking at our availability, and we've only just now gotten fiber internet available. AT&T decided to cover our area, and like I mentioned, they've got 1G, 2G, and 5G. It's not too bad actually. 2G is about $130 a month. But I ended up calling WoW because I was contemplating switching from our 1G to our 1.2G service, and instead of moving up in bandwidth for a little bit more money, I actually ended up getting my bill cut almost in half for the 1G speed. So call those service providers and see what they're willing see what they're willing to give you.
Yeah,
But
it's definitely a game.
Yeah. All right. Question here. Is the 4K HDR mezzanine file sent to Kaleidescape the same as what is sourced for disk? Basically, do you start with the same content set that other folks do?
Yeah, typically it's the same content. Just again, we don't compress down the audio. There is a little bit of compression we do on the video, but it's still reference quality. It's still gonna be the same Blu-ray quality if you looked at it on a scale, or 4K quality.
Jeffrey Swartz put in the question here. I missed it before. Suggestion. One of the things I've seen other folks be curious for this as well. The idea of being able to do gift cards in the platform.
Yeah, so we don't have gift cards per se, but dealers do have the ability to purchase movie credits for clients. So you could go to a dealer and do like $100 or $500 in movie credits for somebody if you liked. But yeah, I've heard that a couple times recently as well, the gift cards. So
yeah, I would say that us, folks that are really active in the Kaleidescape community, we're in the forums and all that. We definitely there's no shortage of asks
sure.
For features and more. Scrolling back through, making sure I didn't miss any prior questions. Again, if folks have them, please post them in. So what do you like most about the platform? You mentioned in your prior retail roles, kind of always being drawn to it. Now you work for the company. How do you use Kaleidescape in your home entertainment, and what features and capabilities do you like?
Yeah, I mean, I think first and foremost, the thing that draws everybody in is the interface, right? The first time I saw, we call it the shuffle, right? First time I saw the shuffle, I was like, oh, hold on, what was that, right? Like, what channel is this? So yeah, I mean, that was one of the first things that kind of drew me in. Obviously, the audio video quality that you have. I mean, I was a big physical media disc person, and once I started doing some A/B like testing for myself, I mean, it's hard to kind of go back. And then obviously, when you talk about looking at it versus streaming, it's hard to watch some of your favorite movies or content on other devices. But yeah, the way we use it is we watch a lot of like kids movies. We have a little 7-year-old girl, so we watch a lot of like kids movies, Disney stuff. There's a couple of like TV shows that my wife and I will watch. And then one of the coolest things, we actually just did a deal with Mercury Records, so we have their portfolio. So it's another like 220 plus concerts that we're slowly releasing. And so it's another kind of thing that we do in the house is we watch concerts. So like one cool one that we have that I know a lot of dealers have is like the Hans Zimmer Live in Prague. That's a really cool like 4K Atmos thing. And so to me, that's the coolest part. Obviously, our store, movie store, is super cool, informative. But yeah, the biggest thing that kind of drew me in from the start was just the interface, right? Easeability, right? Anybody can kind of use the system, find a title, search it. And then, like I said, the cool thing with kids is you can kind of lock it down to, whatever, level you want it to, whether it's G, PG, whatever. So.
Yeah, the concerts haven't been something that I've gotten into much. I do have a couple loaded on my system. We haven't made it. I did see there was a Def Leppard actually from Detroit that was on sale in the store right now. I think there was actually a big sale that just hit on a variety. One just ended, and I feel like another one just started on a variety of concert material. There was a lot of that at the. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say we've been doing the summer concert series, so we've had a lot of stuff in there. So that's probably where you saw it.
There was a lot of the Kaleidescape demo using concerts at the Audio Device Live show. I suspect there'll be a lot of that at CEDIA coming up. You guys are going to have a big presence there. You want to chat about that?
Yeah, it's gonna be huge. So we'll have a good sized booth for ourselves, and then we'll have over 35 other companies that will be using Kaleidescape in their displays. So we'll have a couple of big, theater booths that'll obviously use us, and then everybody else that's showing, any kind of video will be using us as the source as well. So should be pretty big.
Perfect. A couple additional questions, like feature type related things. Will IMAX Enhanced be available in the future?
I don't know. Actually, and that's not something that I've actually gotten a question about yet. So yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, AV Techman, what aspect of IMAX Enhanced are you thinking about? There's a variety of titles that have like IMAX and shifting aspect ratios, and lossless audio is covered pretty well. Another feature suggestion here, any chance of a D2D sale? A lot of discs to convert. Voodoo used to do kind of package discounts.
Yeah, nothing like that. I mean, I'll tell you that with the new disc to digital though, so you have a couple ways to do it. You can do it with an older piece called an Alto, or we have approved 3 different USB Blu-ray drives, and I think you actually covered this as well. But a majority of those movies will be in that $3 to $8 range. But yeah, no like bundle thing. But I can tell you, for instance, like I did Die Hard a few weeks ago, and Blu-ray to Blu-ray it was $3.50. If I wanted the 4K version, it was an extra $1, so $4.50 was what it was to get 4K Die Hard with Atmos, everything like that. But yeah, majority of them are going to be in that $3.50 to $8 range.
Yeah, the new program is fantastic. Definitely like trying to navigate it in the past for folks and getting a hold of the older hardware. And there was dealer support and some studious folks in the community that were kind of sharing devices around for people that were onboarding in the system to be able to get in, but being able to just connect the drive directly and be able to feed discs through. The videos are there on the channel for folks that may be looking for more information. It's so seamless, literally seconds. You can, if you have a library of discs and you want to feed them through, it's just one after the other, pop them in, it pops them right back out. And then you have all of your digital offers available to you on the web page thereafter. I would expect that that's been probably a really great just overall net positive, and something that you've seen people taking advantage of quite a bit this year, I would expect, Matt, right?
Yeah, it's been awesome. And then the other thing to think about too is, maybe you do, you buy 5 at a time and then you just catalog, right? So at least you can still see your overall library in one space on the system. And then when you want to watch it, you can buy it, right? And I would even tell you to catalog stuff that even if we don't have it in our library today, still catalog it, because you will get an alert that says, hey, this movie, is now available, right? Like one of my favorite movies growing up was Rad, the BMX movie.
Oh yeah, yep.
We don't have it, but I've got it cataloged on my system so that one day I'll get that alert.
There, yep. Yeah, I still have, when I got originally into the platform, I was able to do it right in the waning days of Ultraviolet, and so my timing was impeccable in that regard. So I was able to get my account set up and get a pretty well loaded UV account connected with my Kaleidescape account before UV ended up disappearing. And I'm still surprised today where movies that are probably still like latent in those UV rights, I think, or somehow in the system it knew that I still had these latent rights to these films, and they end up popping up when they appear in the store, they appear in my digital offers, and like, wow, I didn't even realize that I had that one. But yeah, I'll happily re-add it to my digital library. Jeffrey commenting, D2D is usually pretty inexpensive. I've been happy using the Bluray Drive that Kaleidescape suggests. Yeah, again, I think the way that was pulled off this year was really, really good. definitely serving the interest of a lot of users and potential users. Here's always a big one the community is asking for. Speaking of UV, any chance of movies anywhere?
Yeah. Again, not that I know of. It all comes down to contracts and money and all that stuff, and so above my pay grade.
Yeah. I think one of the things that people probably don't give enough credence to is like the level of legality that goes into the whole solution, and let's say like the volume of effort, security, rights management, and so on, to be able to put out content at the level of quality that you guys do. Like years and years of legal wrangling and effort kind of behind that whole thing.
Yeah.
In some ways too, I would call Movies Anywhere a bit of a disappointment in terms of like what it's really accomplished in the last several years. It looked more promising in the beginning, and then after a little rush of onboarding and bringing in, it really hasn't grown very much.
Well, and with this stuff, I mean, physical stuff, slowly going away. It's one of those things. I mean, it would just be, trying to capture that library that you have at this point. You're not really adding anything else.
Yeah, movies anywhere. It really only even has the studios. Not that I'm saying that I wouldn't want it if it were feasible to do so, but I think it has a lot of untapped potential there. Michael's asking, does Kay have any dialogue or relationship with Apple connections for HomeKit and other things along those lines?
Not that I'm aware of. Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, on the HomeKit side, from an automation perspective, probably Matt can talk about like the automation features. I've definitely showcased that on the channel, but there's quite a lot of power there for Control 4 and other platforms.
Yeah, I was gonna say we work with everybody from Control 4, RTI, Savant, Crestron, all the major guys. We URC. If you're going around and seeing the new like Ava remotes, there's stuff like that we have where it actually looks like our movie store on their remote. But yeah, in terms of automation, like that's really what we are now. With that being said, obviously you can create scenes inside of that. So we do work with Josh AI. So with Josh AI and let's say Control 4, you can go into your room and say, hey Josh, watch Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, and it will start that scene. Start the projector TV, turn on that receiver, start Kaleidescape, and then the movie just starts, right? Lights go down, everything just happens in that scene.
Yeah, I've seen some of that only in action on in videos. I saw Matt Blair from Burlick Media is in the chat. He's got some videos up on his social media showing that the contextual voice control of that is pretty neat. It's not something that I've been able to tinker with or experience, but it looks pretty powerful. I've got Control 4. Again, like I mentioned, there's some videos on the channel that talk about specifically how I've kind of programmed up my Control 4 setup with Kaleidescape. The one thing that always, when we have folks over, or we play a movie, is like just the simple stuff like the credit triggering and the metadata that essentially that comes with the movies that you can key off of for programming events, turning the lights on and off automatically based on content state and playback, and the credit trigger is always good for like an impression on folks.
Yeah. Now, do you do like do you make your own scripts and stuff like that as well? Like create your own kind of scenes to do that?
Yep, I have for demo purposes. That's one of the things I haven't made very detailed videos on yet. Kind of always been on my content plan for the channel, but I haven't gotten to those videos yet. you want to speak to that maybe a little bit more about some of those capabilities. I definitely use scenes all the time.
Yeah.
To the point too, my kids are programmed when we go into the room and we're waiting for somebody. It's like, oh, like play that scene from that movie, because they know
Yeah.
how easy it is.
So yeah, a lot of people don't maybe don't know that. So when you select a movie, there's a tag inside of it that says scenes. So scenes aren't like the chapters that you're used to, on the movie. The scene tab are scenes that we've put together and we've curated, which we think highlight that movie the best, right? So maybe in John Wick, it's like the nightclub scene in John Wick 2. It's the shootout at the end, that sort of stuff. Now with that, you can also create your own scenes.
All good. We'll persevere. Looking for more questions from folks too while we're going. So if you've got something that you're interested in commenting on, let us know. There's Matt. Josh AI is amazing with Kaleidescape. Deep linking elevates the home theater experience exponentially. Definitely something I need to experience and play with at some point in time.
Sorry about that. Yeah, so,
Yep, all good.
inside of those scenes, you can create your own scene. So you basically will start a movie, and you can start the scene wherever you think your favorite part. Maybe it's Gladiator, and maybe it's the part right before he takes his helmet off, right? And then you stop it at whatever time after that, and then it'll show up. You'll save it, and it'll show up with a heart next to it in the scene page. So now you know, and you can name it. But now like that's a scene that you created, and so now it'll show up in your scene tags. So something pretty cool that obviously you can't do anywhere else.
Jeffrey's asking, have you or can you share your favorite scene starting on times in a future video? Yeah, I will definitely get to it here try and get to it in the near future and really showcase and highlight some of that stuff. Do you have any particular scenes that or some of your favorites, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, well, some of my favorites are like some of the ones that were used like all year at CEDIA. So, but like I liked like the Top Gun like 2:15 scene where he's racing the clock, right? Like that's one. There's a scene in Baby Driver, like that opening kind of bank scene, which I like. There's a song from the Hans Zimmer live in Prague. There is another concert, so Eric Clapton, Layla live at Royal Albert. That's another good one. I use, let's see, what is it? Oh, Ready Player One, like the first challenge scene, that race scene, downtown. That's another good one. But yeah, a lot of the ones that I like are ones that are always used, unfortunately.
Yeah, there's a few of those too where I've seen those scenes, I don't know, countless times, and I've never actually watched the movies yet.
Right.
Yeah, there was a lot of Top Gun Maverick at Audio by Live for sure.
Okay.
Ghostbusters, the latest Ghostbusters movie, the beginning scene, that one was used quite a bit there. Baby Driver is another one. Ready Player One, I've watched those scenes a lot, and I still haven't watched the movies yet.
That last concert scene, I'm looking at your background. The last concert scene, Bohemian Rhapsody, is another one. And then Ford vs Ferrari obviously is one that a lot of people use too. We forget about.
Yeah, that's another movie I need to watch. Those were scenes from that movie were played quite a bit around Audio Vice Live as well. Going back to the idea of the concerts too, I was going to comment that at Audio Vice Live, how much Kaleidescape was used for demo material with concerts for music systems rather than just streaming music in that. And again, it really makes me want to maybe dive into that part of the platform a little bit more.
Yeah, and I think last year we found that so many people were starting to do concerts. And actually out of our top 25, I think 2 or 3 of them were concerts that were the most downloaded last year. So, but yeah, I think
I appreciate.
Yeah, go ahead. I was gonna say, I think having this new Mercury Records thing is going to be huge for us. All the concerts you'll be able to see and take advantage of.
Yeah, I think over the course of the last little stretch here too, we've been seeing like the focus of music and TV and other types of content than movies really come more forefront in the store. Like right now, I've got Kaleidescape.com up here, and let me get the right share.
Yeah,
right off the bat, we've got music, TV.
Yep, I was gonna say we added that tab as well recently for music. So that was something we actually didn't have on the website. We've been adding a ton of TV stuff, right? So, we've added some like Netflix originals, like with You and some other ones. We have a ton of Amazon originals and features. Obviously, all the, HBO, Showtime, stuff like that. And then we've been adding in, like Big Bang Theory, stuff like that from other networks.
Yep, expansion. I think the store expansion in this year of the platform has been like unprecedented in terms of the steady flow. It's the steady flow of content, catalog content, new stuff in a variety, and the TV series as well is really cool. Glad to see that coming with the season passes and all of that, to be able to get new shows as they air.
Yep, Yellowstone was the first one that we did last year. We saw a huge hit with that. And then to your point, we run specials and deals on all that content all the time. So you can take advantage of, like, your favorite HBO series and get it for, a really good price. And we run those all the time. So.
Yep. And the packaging of the content sets is something we've been clamoring for a long time as well. The super bundles have been great, but having perpetually available, discounted bundles is excellent for folks too, building up the libraries. And the fact that the content sets can go on sale as well as the individual films too.
Yep. I was gonna say, and then, if it's one of those things too, like if you, like Meet the Parents right there, right? If you had, all of those except for one, you do get a deal on just that one as well. You're not being penalized just because you don't have that one, which is nice.
Yep.
But
my biggest challenge. Oh, good.
No,
yeah, my biggest challenge. Yep. I've got a very large, I don't have those ones. I've got a very large Kaleidescape movie library. I think I'm knocking on like 1,400 pieces of content.
Nice.
By virtue of the original UV port, just a massive amount of building up the library over 5 years or so, I think, or more, actually, being in the platform and taking advantage of the deals and bundles and all of that. There was a question here I wanted to get. Yeah, here it is. Jack was asking about used equipment. And one of the things that I get this question a lot, and I don't think Kaleidescape doesn't have any specific approved kind of used marketplace or anything, right?
We don't.
But for folks looking to get into the platform that way, one of the great virtues, I think, of Kaleidescape is the community. And Kscape Owners Forum is the ultimate culmination of that community, where folks from Kaleidescape engage with us and answer questions and take feedback and all that sort of thing. And so anybody that's looking for equipment in that capacity, that's a really great place to go and buy from qualified folks, either in the community and dealers and that sort of thing. I suspect that we're going to see a little bit of a run of newly available Kaleidescape gear with the Terra Primes coming out, and folks upgrading to the new models. And
and the thing to look for too would be like anything that's like a Strato S, whether it's like a 6, 10, whatever the size is. That would be the thing that you should be able to find, kind of, I'm gonna say the cheapest, right? But that's going to be probably the best like price point today, is something like that. And that's something that's going to work with all the 4K stuff today, right? It gets you into the ecosystem today, but something like a Strato S would be the best thing to look at.
Yeah, that's how I started my Kaleidescape journey. I bought a not an S at the time, but the original like taller U um, combined player storage Strato from eBay, and then kind of scaled up from there. Question, well, some chatter with regards to that about warranties too. Um, give some comments about the warranty coverage of the devices and length of time, transferability, and that.
Yep. So you have 5-year warranty on all of our product. So that's all of the, that's the drives, that's the chassis, the network card, the Strato C player, 5-year warranty, and then it is transferable. So if you do sell that unit, once it's re-registered, that warranty is still available.
Good. We're just coming up on an hour. Any other questions? Or I guess, Matt, I suppose, any other things that you wanted to add about platform in general, about specifically the Terra Primes?
No, I mean, I think we kind of covered everything with, the differentiators between the hard disk and the solid state. Yeah, that's kind of it. There, obviously it's still the same Strato C player for both those units. That hasn't changed. But yeah, that's it. We've made it really simple, right? You have a Strato C per zone, and then how much storage space do you want, right? Now again, the cool thing I think that we did though too was we replaced that 6 with the 8, so now you do get more storage for the same price. So right now, like until the end of September, we do have a promo, which is the Strato C with an 8 terabyte at $79.90. So right at 8,000 is the entry level today, and you can get those two pieces. So you'd be about 130 all 4K movies if you did that with an 8, and then all the way up to 88 terabytes, which would be about 1,500 4K movies. And then we do, if you're interested, we do have the ultimate package, which would be 288s, one Strato C, and then all of our 4K content at time of ship. So not just movies, you'd get all of our movies, all of our 4K concerts, and then any of our 4K TV shows like Game of Thrones, Yellowstone, stuff like that as well. The way it kind of works out math-wise is you'd fill up 188, and then you'd have about 72 terabytes or so left on the other one, so about 1,200 movies left after that, and that comes preloaded from the factory. So once you get that installed, you're ready to go.
Yeah, you put that through your own internet, they might disconnect your house after that. Yeah, that's pretty wild. I'm sure you folks have sold a few of those too. I would be interested to talk to the people buying them.
Yeah, we started in January and we've sold quite a few. I'll be honest, the cool thing to me, like it's a lot of money, but the cool thing is the price hasn't changed since January. So we release movies every Tuesday and Friday, and it's still the same price it was in January. So you can imagine how many movies we've put out since the beginning of the year.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of there's an interesting choice in the platform in terms of like level setting how much storage one wants to have in it, and as people buy, as you buy into Kaleidescape, in particular, as you start building up your library, hitting limits of storage and whether you choose to expand or whether you choose to kind of cycle, there's two camps. The size of your wallet may have an impact on making some of that decision for you. But again, there's choice. There's definitely virtues to having more of your content readily available, despite the fact that the speeds or the amount of time it takes to get a movie resident and ready to play are getting lower. Having it there already is zero latency. And an easy ability to jump in and out of things. But maybe you want to talk.
I was gonna say it's easy to just if you have filled up that 6 terabyte, 8 terabyte, 22 whatever, you can easily just delete. It doesn't delete the file or the movie from your system, if you will. It just takes it off of the hard drive, and then you'll still be able to view it on your interface. You just obviously you can't play it until you re-download it, but that's another way, while you're saving up for more space or whatever, to do that as well. If you want to download, Indiana Jones and you're out of space, you can just delete, a movie or so and do that.
Yep. Yeah, that's definitely how I use the platform, because 12 terabyte is only a fraction of my library. With the average calculus being about 100 movies per six. Per 6 terabytes. When I had 6, I did find that to be a little tight. By the time, let's say, I chose like a decent collection of favorites, a decent collection of movies that I wanted to have resident that appealed to different members of the family, queuing up a bunch of stuff that I knew we wanted to watch next, queuing up the seasonal things, and then like cycling new movies in and out. So I appreciate the minimum size moving from 6 to 8. I think that's a nice little bit of extra breathing room to make the initial size feel more comfortable again, but then still giving you the option to go add more.
Yeah, I agree.
And as the speed of the download gets faster, the ability to, or the usage of the platform to delete and cycle and re-download becomes much more seamless too.
Yeah.
And that's kind of another evidence of choice again, right? That you can, if you have the right infrastructure, just the whole concept of having a movie like this available to watch in 4 minutes is wild.
Yeah.
Never bet against the internet. Let's see. Yep. Any other questions from folks? Yeah, I think otherwise this has been fun. When I saw the news this week, like I said, I'm a glutton for new hardware. I love hardware and drivers and firmware and the intersection of software and hardware, and I'm really excited to for what higher performant devices can bring. And I think everybody's looking forward to what's next, and into 2024. Obviously, all eyes are on the Strato line now. We're not going to ask you what's coming. I can probably say to everybody that there will be another Strato. That's no secret. Someday, somehow, in the future of the line, like there'll be a reason to put out a new Strato. It will come. And with the glimpses of what we're looking at, I think there's so much more potential in the next generation too. So it's been a great year. Very excited to see what happens in 2024.
Yeah, I think we've done a lot this year. Way more in kind of years past, right? Just in terms of the interface, the movie store, the way you can buy the content now from us, and then with this new Terra Prime. And like you said, I'm excited to, be able to get 8 terabytes to a client now versus 6 at the same price. That's awesome, right? But yeah, no, I think this year will be good for us. It's been a great week thus far, so a lot of good reception from this. So
yeah, definitely going into CDS strong.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I think we can probably adjourn. Again,
was there a
thanks so
question
much.
about rental?
Oh, did we miss one here? Any last ones? Pop them in there.
Well, we do have two rental forms. So we have what I call like everyday rentals, which are going to be movies that you've seen in the past, like call it Shawshank Redemption, right? That's going to be $7.95 to rent. You have that for 30 days. Once you start it, you have 48 hours. Now with those $8 rentals, if you do like that movie and you're like, hey, you know what, I'd watch that again, I want to buy it, half the rental fee goes toward the purchase price. And then you have what are called premium rentals, which are movies that have just come out or have just come to streaming, stuff like that. And those are going to range from anywhere from $15 to $30 for a rental. And they do not have kind of the same thing. You can't buy it and get half the rental fee or anything like that. But so too, the rentals are the same exact file as when you buy it though. So you will wait the 4 minutes, 8 minutes, 45 minutes for the download. It is the same exact file as what you're buying.
Yep, all in the store. Anybody too that's considering the platform and you really want to kind of explore what's available, you don't need an account to really peruse the Kaleidescape movie store. Go here, go in your web browser, and if you're ever curious, what do they have these titles? Do they have these studios and whatnot? You're able to go in and research all of that. You can track the sales. You can see the information, look at the bundles and all of that. The consistency of the web experience and everything that presents, I think is yet another virtue of the platform. And there's a video on the channel, I think, as well, that I did a while back, kind of talking about the web interface and what you're able to do and how it works and some of the capabilities. You can do a lot of system management through there as well, right? I meant kicking off downloads and other things. So again, these folks have done an excellent job pulling different facets of the platform together.
Yeah, like I said, that music tab is brand new. We just did that, I think within the last week.
I'm sorry, which one?
The music tab. So
okay,
next to, so now you can search out, concerts, everything like that as well.
Yep, lots of filters. Great usability here. My usual approach is to either hit the app on a daily basis and just kind of see what's new. The new stuff always appears at the top of the store. There's the Indiana Jones. I haven't picked that up yet, but I certainly will be.
Yep. Tuesday and Friday. That's the time to look at it.
And the promotions and all that usually change.
Yeah, usually like, yeah, so you'll see it like right there on there. It says that's through 9/4. So typically, you'll see that sliding across the screen, and usually it'll give you the end date.
Oh, highlight here. I think we've got a Terra Prime, one of the first ones, Terra Prime
Nice.
user in the chat.
Congrats.
Yeah, what size did you get, Calvin? Awesome. Yeah, Michael commenting a lot of concerts on sale this week.
Yeah. I'm surprised you got the Terra Prime today and hasn't hooked it up yet.
Yeah, he needs to get downloaded.
Right?
All right. So their questions were dribbling in. We'll put it out there one more time. Any last questions? Calvin got the 22. Nice.
Nice. Awesome. Good choice.
I think that's a real sweet spot.
I do too.
OneDrive form factor.
To me, like when we had the 6, like you start using the system, it goes by so much faster than you would think. Right? You buy some new releases and then you start buying your favorites, and next thing you know, you spent $500 in the movie store, and then next month you're doing the same thing, and by the time you know it, you're 3 months in and have already filled it up, right? So yeah, 22 to me is that sweet spot. Still has the form factor, so it's still a half rack 1U, so it's still super small. But yeah, that's awesome. Congrats, Calvin.
Yeah, I can definitely say amongst all the folks that I've, through the channel that I've met and talked to about this, and folks that have kind of segued their way into the platform, I can't think of anybody that didn't like it or found their way in and weren't very quickly, putting more into it, building a library, and and enjoying it and using it more and more. no unsatisfied customers. I have a lot of folks that, for whatever various reasons, had their trepidations about considering it, and do I want to commit, and so on, but never any regrets.
Yeah.
After the fact.
Yeah, we've been one thing that we've been doing with dealers recently is like at events and stuff like that. We've been doing a ton of A/B demos, so where we'll bring in some sort of streaming box and play it versus the Kaleidescape. Same volume, we'll play. Say we play Top Gun Maverick. We'll play the opening scene on one, then play it on Kaleidescape, and it's amazing the difference. And so people can actually see and hear the difference for themselves. So we've been doing that a lot recently. So I think that's helped out.
So there are folks asking about. I don't think we're gonna, or that Matt can necessarily answer much in this realm about what's coming. I think I can really just give my own speculation to say that we've still got a decent amount of year left, and so I would be hopeful that we see another KOS release between now and the holidays. Perhaps it feels like you guys tend to run releases every few months or so. Of course, depending on the cycles and what features and stuff are being added. But kind of all we can do is wait.
Yeah,
wait.
That's fair, especially with this new thing. I'm sure there's going to be some updates and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know what's coming, unfortunately.
And definitely some excitement in the chat as well, folks. Planning their entry.
Awesome.
Yeah, again, I've never.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I was saying I'm excited for Damien to do it. Now let me ask you this. So Damien, have you been able to see or like hear the difference with the Kaleidescape already? I'm always curious about how people find out about Kaleidescape, whether it's through social media or through going to events or from the dealer channel.
Yeah, we've got a healthy group, so definitely, folks, sound off, share your stories. How did you find your way into the platform? What do you think about it? What do you like? Jeff Verdi's comment. He's new in the last 2 weeks. Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, I think hopefully this news and CEDIA in general will be a big driver. It's kind of one of those things where I think the enthusiast community in the know certainly knows to kind of maybe take it easy in August.
Yeah.
Because new things might be coming, right? Same thing. Never buy your new iPhone in August. You pretty much know that something's coming in September. You don't know what exactly it might be, but you probably have it on some good authority that some things might happen, and it's a good idea to wait. So Jeffrey's saying he's blown away, especially by the audio. Awesome. Yeah. 7.2.4.
Yeah, definitely take advantage of a lot of those new movies for sure.
Yeah, Atlanta.
Nice.
Yeah, I think Michael just did there was a big meetup visit day there recently.
Okay.
That he was covering on his channel. They did a whole bunch of demos and things. Michael's asking, not necessarily asking if Dolby Vision is coming, but would what might be entailed with a Dolby Vision update? I think increasingly so, right? People, I feel like more and more folks are putting their Kaleidescapes, or putting Kaleidescapes on flat panels outside of the theater, outside of the projection setup. And so there's a whole ripe audience of folks, and I think that's where a lot of the impetus behind asking for Dolby Vision.
Yeah, it hasn't really been, a need for us recently. I mean, or until recently, just because, I think there might be one short throw projector out there that actually does it. Besides that, but now that people are getting, bigger TVs with 98-inch, Samsungs or 100-inch Sonys. I think obviously, like you said, to your point, more people are getting Kaleidescape on those TVs now more than ever. But yeah, I'm not sure in terms of if that feature is coming or when it's coming. Unfortunately.
Yeah, 98 is becoming a really compelling size in the flat panel space. Now, more and more of the manufacturers have them, and I'm really curious to see how the new TCL turns out this year. The big QM8, they kind of really broke the 98-inch space last year, and I think they've got an opportunity to do it again this year. So Jeffrey's saying he has a projector and he's considering a second Strato for his living room. Yeah.
Do it. We can get it ordered today.
If anybody's looking, of course, the channel, Audio Advice. The links are in the descriptions, and they're in the links are in the description, and they're in all the videos. So they have all of the new stuff listed now. It's all posted, including the new bundles and all of that. So for folks looking to get in with the Prime 8 Strato bundle, the $79.99 deal, that's all there at Audio Advice. All the links are there.
Yeah, Damien said he saw it on YouTube.
Yeah, hopefully this channel.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, or Matt commenting, yeah, and the Age of Dynamic told me that's another thing too. Actually, like is Dolby Vision actually necessarily better anymore with what displays are the brightness we're at and the processing that we're able to do.
Yeah.
A couple other dealers, I think, in the chat as well. Living Space Theater. Yeah, lots of options out there. Local folks and Audio Advice is given that you're a regional sales manager, right? Interfacing with the dealers and the dealer network, is that something that's growing? Have you guys really been building out that framework and finding more outlets and availability?
A ton. Yeah. Yeah, I think, well, and I think that we're in a point where more and more people are getting to know, who we are and what we do, right? We've been around for 20 years, but there's still, a fair amount of people that don't know, what Kaleidescape is, or they call it Kaleidoscope, right? And so stuff like that. And so, yeah, I think that I think this year's been big for us. I think we ended last year very, very well. And then this year, we've been continuing to grow. And, we've got more dealers and, in all over the US, we've been adding new dealers. So it's been good.
Just scrolling through, make sure I didn't miss anything else. I'm not sure if it's something that we can, the answer might be pretty simple. There's a few folks have commented to me that they recently had bought, they had bought equipment recently and the primes just hit. Is there any, and of course now they're jonesing for the latest greatest. Is there, I guess, any options to give them other than to say kind of work through your dealer, and maybe there's
yeah, I mean, that's really what I can tell you. Now again, if you just bought like a little bit ago, I mean, I would tell you really, I mean, it comes down to speed. So it's just a little bit faster than what you have. But yeah, I mean, for stuff like that, you would have to go through your dealers.
anybody purchasing new now, I suspect is probably getting only primes.
Yep. I think, obviously anything purchased from Monday on is it's all new product. We don't have any of the old product left. So everything's brand new.
Anything that you're excited to see from the industry at Cedia, non-Kaleidescape?
I don't know. I mean, last year I didn't get to walk around at all. We were so busy. So I didn't get to. I'd probably like to go to a couple of the theaters, right? I know that we're in a Barco theater with a Shindo and Mad VR and Trenoff. So I'd like to, see what that one's about. There's a couple other theaters that I'm excited to see, but generally those are the ones I'm excited about, is to sit in the theater and kind of test stuff out.
Yeah, that's definitely a premium stack of gear. The combination of a high-end projector, a Kaleidescape, and a video processor is basically the trifecta of your video chain in this hobby. We touched on this a little bit ago, but question here again, or similar vein anyway. Scott saying, seriously considering purchases, mainly due to the channel. Awesome. Asked, how does what happens when a drive dies?
Yep. So if it's a compact, it's just a single drive. So it's either going to be an 8 terabyte drive now or a 22. So it's a single drive. So those will have to be sent back. But if you have a full size Terra, like a 48 or an 88, those can just be replaced. So you'll still be able to use on a full size. You'll still be able to use the system. You just won't be able to play any movies, and they'll be grayed out. You won't be able to play any movies that were attached to that drive. So with that being said, we have a proprietary, it's not a RAID, but we have a proprietary, whatever you want to call it, on a system on our drives that knows what was on that drive. So when that drive is replaced, it's 2 screws. You'll undo the latch, 2 screws, put the new drive in. It will start downloading all of the content that was on that old drive that went bad.
One of the things that I love about the system when it comes to stuff like that is it's the seamlessness of setting up the systems, basically. Meaning you add pieces to your system and they just scale, right? They kind of like find each other. You build out the system by adding the hardware, and everything just kind of works. You want to speak to that a little bit as well, maybe too, if like you have multiple pieces in your system, or maybe somebody's adding a Terra Prime and they might have had a StratOS.
Yep. So super easy, right? It's just once you put it on the network, you're going to go through the web interface, and you're just going to add component. So as long as you have it plugged up on the same network, it's going to find it, and you add component, and it takes just a few minutes. But it will, you can stack. So let's say you have an 8 or a 6 terabyte today. You want to add a new 22 prime. Now you've got 28 terabytes essentially stacked on your Kaleidescape system, and it works flawlessly together.
And it'll manage its own like directed prioritization in terms of how it uses the drives and downloads and stuff, right? Is there?
Correct.
Can you speak to that a little bit?
In terms of how it,
like in general, right? One, it'll try to prioritize, say, like faster storage. So if I understand things right, if I have an older StratOS and I add the Terra, the system is going to prioritize the Terra versus kind of putting things to the StratOS first. And there's a lot of intelligent balancing and stuff behind it, right?
That's correct. So yes. So yeah, if you did have a 6 and it wasn't full, and you add new Terra Prime, it's going to automatically put everything on that new Terra Prime until that's full. Yeah, it is prioritized like that.
So to back up Scott's question, the user replaceable drive in the bigger chassis, right?
Correct. Yep, and the bigger chassis, and then the compact chassis would go back. And again, it's super easy. I was going to say there's a flap, and if it's one drive, it'd be 2 screws. You pull it out, put the new one in, and that's it.
Pretty much just like a back plane, like a NAS almost, right? Just kind of slot it right in. Is the bigger model of the SSD similarly replaceable? The drives come as like a cartridge or something, or an individual drive, or does the SSD change that at all?
I'll be honest, I don't know. I actually haven't seen the inside.
yeah, maybe gets a little bit too much in the guts, but the engineer in me wants to ask if those drives are they like SATA SSDs? Are they like PCI Express kind of cards in there?
Yeah,
I'd love to see the architect. I've got to
Yeah,
buy one and take it
really-
or something. Too many years of building my own computers.
No worries.
Cool. Well, like I said, I've kind of hit a lot of the questions and comments and things that I had. Other questions trickling in. We've still got a decent sized group hanging out with us. So if anybody has those topics, one of the things that we've been doing in the lives lately has been kind of a this week in the store as well. Taking a look at what's on sale and what's new. We already did this, I guess, a little bit, but we've had definitely some cool stuff appear, ready to watch. I think the speed at which like some of the new release movies are kind of hitting the theaters and turning up feels to me like it's been faster lately.
I was gonna say it's definitely been faster. Hold on one second. I was gonna try and pull something up for you. Yeah, especially with the pre-order stuff. So like with Barbie, with Cinderella was big. We got that super quick. We got that before streaming. So that was big for us. And then the same thing, Covenant that came out, I think like a month or two ago, the Guy Ritchie with I think Jake Gyllenhaal, I believe, or that one again was one that we got very quick.
Yeah, you put that in the wish list. So many good movies in the backlog.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Star Trek sale just popped up with the content sets as well. If anybody's been waiting on adding Star Trek, I think Star Wars had just been on sale recently as well.
Yeah, we had Star Wars last. Yep. And then you've got a lot of, you guys was going to say you have a lot of the live action like Disney stuff, which is what a lot of people wait for is the Disney sales. Because typically those are going to be the more expensive, especially on the disc to digital.
Yep. We just had the massive Marvel Cinematic Universe Super Bundle.
Yeah.
Yeah, my biggest holdback to being able to watch movies is time, family time. So many movies in the backlog. I'm waiting for my kids to age up just a little bit more, and I'll finally hit the point where I can actually start watching more movies that I've left in the backlog that would have just been mom and dad movies, but now they can be family movies coming up.
Like which one are you most excited about?
We've been, so my youngest is kind of right on the level of some of the stuff that we have been watching, actually, because I would say in general we're probably pretty conservative about our choices and stuff like that. But I've got both of my kids with the comic book reading bug, so
cool.
We've been actually reading like original Marvel comics, Marvel Universe from the 1960s, Stan Lee and Jack Kirby stuff. And so because of that, like we're really jonesing to start the cinematic universe journey with them. But he's just a little too, I don't know, maybe like into next year or something, one more birthday or whatnot. And like Harry Potter is another one. My daughter's really into like mystery and magic-y kind of stuff.
Okay.
But we tend to watch stuff together. So again, the younger guy needs to age up a little bit. Harry Potter's a tough one because when we all, or like the generation of kids that grew up with Harry Potter did it over 9 years or whatever, but now it's all just available. And so the level of darkness in movie one or book one is very different than the level of darkness, but you could watch them all in a month and you don't have eight years of maturity in between. So Lord of the Rings too, another one.
Yep.
There's so much classic stuff, but getting into the newer things, like I'm way behind. Much as I'm a comic book reader and a fan, I'm way behind in my Marvel Cinematic Universe watching. So by the time I'm almost ready to like give up worrying about watching them myself, figuring like we'll just start with the family and I'll catch back up.
Well, then it's deciding which the first like movie that you start with, though, of the series.
Yeah. Yep. Oh yeah, I have in my OneNote for sure the both the chronological order and the timeline order. So that's a big decision. Star Wars too, actually, could go either way. You have a preference? Are you release or timeline?
No, I would start with the originals. Personally,
Yeah.
Those are still my favorites. So
yeah, with Star Wars, we were doing there's a name for it, I forget, but you watch the original trilogy, then the prequel trilogy, then the final one, and you just sprinkle in Rogue One and Solo in between later on. There's Hatchet. There's a name for it in the fan community. I forget what they call it though. What are the hits in your household with your family?
Anything Disney right now. Little Mermaid was big recently. Yeah, anything Disney. That's mostly what we get to watch.
We haven't done Elemental yet. I'm curious to check that one out.
Yeah, we watched that I think a week ago. Pretty good.
What'd you think?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I heard my daughter the other day talking to my son about it, and she was basically saying that we watched that, and she was describing Inside Out. I'm like, no, that was a different movie. It looks very similar in the poster and the marketing, but
yeah, I would say it looks very similar. But it was one of those ones that like you can watch and not want to pick up your phone and do other stuff if that makes sense, right? It does grab your attention.
It kept you.
Some of that stuff I'm like, I just can't sit through this.
Yeah. Yep. We had to a while back. We had to institute a pick rotation because we kind of get to a point where it's like, all right, it's movie night. What do we want to watch? And there's like no consensus. So it's like, okay, the solution to no consensus is like everybody in rotation picks what they want, and everybody else is beholden to what they pick. And we actually don't even do it just for movies. Like the family time pick, it could be a board game or something else too. I tend to pick movies. My daughter tends to pick movies. So we've been subjected to a lot of anything with a horse.
Okay.
And we've watched some stuff. We watched some interesting documentaries. Horseback riding and all that stuff is their thing, but it is very, very challenging to find a quantity of movies around horses. And we joke because they basically all have the same plot of a girl, a troubled girl, finds herself by virtue of her relationship with the horse, who then goes through some level of danger and then overcomes and saves the farm or whatever. So we watched that same general plot.
I'd say that's about a dozen times. Yeah. My daughter likes Spirit, and so basically the same thing. Yep.
A couple comments here. Jeffrey saying Indiana Jones ready to watch yesterday. Yeah, eager for that one. What would the 3D question come up again?
That's why I'm looking forward to watching that when I get back to the house.
This is interesting. I wonder, obviously, again, some of the questions are kind of speaking to maybe announcements that are not able to be made and so on. But given the push on TV, it was really interesting to see Disney, after just pulling back from physical media 2 weeks ago, the whole talk was about how they're not going to release discs in a certain region. Then all of a sudden, a bunch of Disney Plus shows get announced. A little bit.
Yeah, I saw that with the Guardians of the Galaxy, where that was pretty much like one of the last big releases that they were going to do. But yeah, no, I don't know anything about Disney Plus series, or anything like that. I mean, it's definitely possible, but yeah, I don't know.
I think the general feedback that we can all give is that we want everything.
Oh,
Just bring it
absolutely.
to Kaleidescape.
Right?
Yeah, it's so easy.
Yeah, but like I said,
Jeffrey.
we have added a ton of, Amazon originals, Netflix stuff for the first time, which is big. Obviously, we have like some FX stuff right now. I thought I just had it pulled up. I think we're doing like Justified as a sale right now, so you get the series of that. So we have a ton of that stuff. So yeah, if there's like a Disney Plus thing, I'm not sure of, but we are adding a ton of other stuff like that. So
Yep, always more to go after for the store for sure.
there's your list of horse movies.
Yeah, Jeffrey's got them all. What are we looking at? Man from Snowy River, National Velvet. I think some of these are actually been on the list. One that we had found. This is I always get the name of this wrong. Windstorm. I always call it Stormwind, which belies my former World of Warcraft video game nerdiness. But it's actually called Stormwind, not Windstorm. I just said it backwards. It's called Windstorm, not Stormwind. But there's this. They made 3 of these things. They're basically German films. I never actually looked to see if they were in the store. I don't think they were. Yeah, no.
No, we got Devil Wins is the closest thing we got to that.
Yeah, so these are movies that you don't have to feel the impetus to go add.
But again, like if you had that on disc, I would catalog it, and then one day if it is available in our store, then you'll get an alert for it. So
yeah, if anybody's got the kiddos out there that are into the horses, though, they were actually pretty decent. It's about they're German movies. They were English dubbed from like the early 20 teens or so. Almost the same plot in all 3, but yeah, there's not that much to choose from when you're looking for the horse movies. All right, I think we'll do one more last round. Anybody else got questions, comments, feedbacks? Again, I want to say thanks. It's really awesome to have you on the stream, muse on the new stuff, and very excited.
Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity. Thanks for having me.
Hopefully you can sleep soundly tonight without blaring.
I hope so.
Blaring alarms.
Yeah. Knock on wood here in a second.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, thanks everybody for coming out. I'll say again, of course, if you're interested in any of the Kaleidescape hardware, you're thinking about entering the platform, and you'd like to support the channel, there are all of the new stuff, and of course the existing Strato players and the bundles and that linked in the description of the videos. There's the video from this past Monday, which is a more direct take on what we've talked about here tonight, all the features and capabilities and elements and so on of the new Terra Primes. And if you go looking in the Kaleidescape playlist on the channel, you'll find a plethora of everything. I've done videos on the app, the web UI, again, the settings, the setup, the installation, the way the UI works and acts, and features and capabilities, and all that is there, disc to digital, and more. So some of those are probably getting to the point where they're old enough. I probably should redo them just to make sure that they're always showing the latest things and some of the new interface changes and whatnot that have come along. But I've been in this platform for more than 5 years, and especially as discs diminish and streaming remains what it is, if you want to have the pinnacle in your home theater, I mean, it's Kaleidescape. So we want this to be a healthy and successful platform.
Yeah.
So good. All right. Thanks again, Matt. Thanks everybody for coming out. We'll be back again, perhaps next week, if not very soon, for another live podcast. And I've got some other big home theater news to share coming up. There's something coming to the Techthusiasm home theater this weekend. So I'll be talking about that very, very soon. But otherwise, thanks everybody for coming out. We'll see you soon.
Thanks. Take care.